Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It means the world to me. As you may have noticed, I have been really quiet on here lately, but it's for a good reason. And today, I finally feel ready to share why. If you're new here, my name is Kelsey, and I really hope you decide to subscribe today. Okay, you already know from the title, Lovelies, I am expecting. This is one of the most joyful sentences I've ever said out loud, and also one of the hardest. For many years, my husband and I quietly hoped for this day. We've been married for 10 years and we have always wanted a child. I prayed for this. I waited. We hoped. Yet the timing always felt uncertain, especially with my health conditions. For so long, I wasn't sure if I would ever be able to share a story like this here, but now looking back at these early months with all their fear and fragility, I know that if even one person watching this feels less alone or more understood, then every word is worth it. So we officially started trying for 2 months before I became pregnant. Yet, long before that, long before we even began, I had been trying for months to get in to see an endocrinologist. Up until this point, my diabetes had been managed by my general practitioner, and while he always cared for me really well, both my OBGYN and GP strongly recommended that I get specialized care and start using an insulin pump before conceiving. But finding a specialist in the specialist world, that's not always easy to navigate. So one endocrinologist that had been recommended by both my GP and OB/GYN literally never returned my calls. I reached out to them weekly, and like the nurses or whoever kept doing phone intakes, completely wasting my time, never scheduling me, and frankly seemed uninterested because I'm a type 1 diabetic. Honestly, that's the kind that many practices would rather not take on because of the time, complexity, and attention involved with type 1 care. This particular doctor cared way more about the type of insurance I had than the urgency of my situation, which I had explained to them many times. Even when I offered to private pay, I was met with absolute silence. The doctor wouldn't even review my chart even after several months and after me getting pregnant. So, as you can imagine, this added a huge layer of fear to an already intimidating time. This is why I absolutely do not recommend OSU endocrinology in Columbus. They really only care about making money off of you, it seems like. And after speaking with an attorney who had some knowledge about this particular practice, I also learned that they are like ruthless when it comes to late bills. If you are only days late, they will sell your debt to a collector and have been known to even try to take people's homes. So I really dodged a bullet there. Then I did find out I was pregnant, and suddenly everything felt so much more urgent. I was in a panic and I called every endocrinologist in the city of Columbus, afraid my diabetes was spiraling and would be putting this tiny life at risk. I was convinced I would lose the pregnancy before it even had a chance to begin. But through persistent self advocacy, calls, follow ups, tears, and prayer, I was accepted by an endocrinologist at Ohio Health about a month into pregnancy, and she has been truly wonderful. So I never gave up hope or stopped looking or praying. Looking back, I feel like God had a plan for me all along. In those very early weeks, I went in for frequent ultrasound with my OBGYN. I was convinced my diabetes, my blood sugar numbers were out of control, and I was certain that I had already done something wrong. I didn't hear a heartbeat until 6 weeks, and that moment was devastating. Even though I know I know now that that is completely normal. Each appointment was a tether that helped me feel grounded again, just seeing that tiny fetus. My endocrinologist then referred me to maternal fetal medicine, the high risk pregnancy team, and I immediately felt safe with their care. They monitor my sugars daily through my CGM. They check up with me every week or even every day if needed and guide every insulin adjustment with gentleness and precision. I also completed genetic testing with my husband because I am Ashkenazi Jewish and I was adopted. Not because this would have changed anything. Like, it's not like I would have, ever taken any drastic measures like ending the pregnancy or something, God forbid, but because we wanted to be prepared and to face whatever came with honesty. And thank God, everything was completely normal. Despite years of being encouraged to use an insulin pump, the delays in getting care due to the other doctor's negligence and lack of urgency or flat out refusing me as a patient meant that I entered this pregnancy without an insulin pump. My doctors actually chose not to start pump therapy mid pregnancy. So I still self administer insulin, count carbs, and make corrections by hour. It's a heavy responsibility, and some days it feels truly overwhelming. But I have kept my sugars within range, the range my doctors want, with the constant support of MFM and relentless effort on both of our parts. The first trimester was incredibly rough. I was so sick and so tired that some days getting out of bed felt like a real accomplishment. Nearly every food made me nauseous. I couldn't eat the balanced, healthy meals that I wanted to. Bread, crackers, cheese pizza, ginger beer, and water became my reality. And somehow, even with that limited diet, I managed to keep my numbers stable the entire first trimester. I also wasn't allowed to drive because my blood sugar would just drop unexpectedly and like dangerously low into the 40s without any warning. And honestly, I can't feel it happening. But it was okay because I needed the rest. Even though I missed all my like Torah classes and shul and some holiday gatherings, I really missed those more than I would have expected I would. And I felt really isolated, but it was also kind of exactly what my body needed. I experienced almost every first trimester symptom possible, sometimes all at once, and 100 times worse than was normal. But week by week, the baby continued to grow exactly as he should, not too big, not too small, just perfectly made. And as the weeks passed, I slowly, beautifully began to feel better. And my husband has been nothing short of a blessing. Even while working 80+ hour weeks, he actually cared for me with so much patience, love, and diligence. He cooked, he cleaned, he treated me like a princess. He made sure I was taken care of, and he never once made me feel like a burden, even though I felt so guilty watching him put in so much effort, especially after these long days. But he always made me feel really supported and really cherished. Near the end of the first trimester, I learned I would need to transition to a new OBGYN because mine was retiring and wouldn't be delivering our baby, but felt like another loss in this season of ups and downs instead became another gift from above. My new OBGYN is someone I adore, and her office is much easier and much closer for me to visit. Once again, I felt like he put me exactly where I was meant to be. And then on the day I officially entered my second trimester, I genuinely felt alive again. The nausea lifted, the fog began to clear. I still get exhausted, and my back, my stomach, my hips, they ache as my body grows with this baby. But every discomfort feels sacred. Every day feels like a gift, and I am so blessed. This is why I waited to share with you. I needed clarity, needed reassurance that I would even make it this far. Honestly, I felt like sharing it would somehow be like bad luck and jeopardize my baby. I needed to feel peace in my body and peace in my heart before saying these words out loud. And now that I do, I am so overwhelmed with gratitude that I just can't keep it to myself. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for caring. Thank you for sharing in this moment and time with me. My husband and I are so humbled, so excited, and so ready for what's next. I really hope you stick around and see what's next and what's new on my channel and join me in this motherhood journey. But for now, bye, my lovelies.